Yeah. Better days, I pray for better days. Working hard cause I want extra pay. Talk to them seeds, but you must demonstrate. Is it your ways that they gon' imitate? Non-violent. Sometimes I wish I would've went to college. Frown proudly. Cause where I'm from, they hate you when you smiling. Your faith should be your gun. You can't leave home without it. The children being grown cause all the parents acting childish. You show them your reality, I bet they doubt it. You tell them all about your dreams, that's when they out it. Your own blood. Ain't no family no more. They do you badly for show. You try to patch up your soul, Lord knows you on a mission to show him you so submissive. The prayer said in silence, you know the devil can hear him, pay attention. Know the war's within, how much time do you spend? Try to balance your zen, then again, losses is lessons. You tell me you trying to win, we know about saving money. You tell me you trying to spend that blood on it. Sweat, tears, you put that love on it. Your best years was just a dumb moment. You tired of going hungry, can't deal with fake making your life lonely. Your lack of faith that left your soul boning. But you gon' work and you gon' strive, do what it takes to survive. What is truth, what is a lie? You know that war's inside. Some get draped into the fake, they don't know what to decide. Wrong choice, meet your demise, keep that between you and I. You realize, some people you gon' let go, you visualize. The things you need to feed your soul is on the rise. They not gon' wanna let you go, but it's alright. It's cool to bury what's gon' grow. Went from wrong to the right and to the dark to the light. It was a hell of a fight. You give it all your might. Gotta hold on tight and you stay strong and precise. You fight the war that's inside, cause it might change your life. From wrong to the right and to the dark from the light. It was a hell of a fight. You give it all your might. You just hold on tight and you stay strong and precise. You fight the war that's inside, cause it might change your life. I ain't the person that I used to be. So what I do today ain't things that you used to see. Stay the same, no things change usually. Some folk I may know might get reintroduced to me. Yeah, I ain't the person that I used to be. So what I do today ain't things that you used to see. Stay the same, no things change usually. Some folk I may know might get reintroduced to me.
Don't be stressing on the dumb shit, cause God is gonna make a way. Just keep going and keep your faith, so you can win this race. This race called life, yeah, yeah. This race called life. This race called life, yeah, yeah. Race called life. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm grinding 'cause I know that I'm gon' get it. I just gotta have vision, keep faith and be humble, and have some patience with it. I've been A1 since day one, been always on my job. I never been a fake, never had to steal and rob, cause I do good business, I'm too good with it. And even though I'm on this road, I'm still daddy to my children. You know I do good with them, and don't like being missing. But I hate when my bills are thicker and my pockets get thinner. But I can't stress up on the dumb shit, cause God is gonna make a way. I keep going and keep my faith in my face, so I can win this race. Win this race called life. This race called life. I'm just trying to win this race called life. This race called life. This race called life, yeah. Race called life. I'm just trying to win this race called life, yeah, yeah, yeah. I keep on running in this race called life, yeah,
Amazing news! At Titans Debate League is now looking for interns. We are expanding our team and seeking driven individuals who are ready to make an impact. We're on the hunt for talented people to join our marketing team, a charismatic new host, and creative minds who can produce amazing content. If you have a positive attitude and are used to winning, because that's what we do here, then we want to hear from you. Join us and contribute to a culture of excellence and success here at Titans Debate League. Email us today, titansdebateleague@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Where Infinity Gauntlet is a mere toy compared to the intellectual prowess build and destroy the cipher. Intellectual sword to slice you, or whatever device you recommend. Surgical precise pen, hand get heated, the room will spin. If man get treated, them goals gon' spin. Level heads with feet, paradigm the box you in. Got a pair of red dimes in the box you in. Don't matter, paradigms, your clock won't spin. Hear the sounds of the trumpets, start the rounds in the gauntlet. Get down or lay down when we're stopping. It's the clash of the titans. Hear the sounds of the trumpets, start the rounds in the gauntlet. Get down or lay down when we storming. It's the clash of the titans. Hear the sounds of the trumpets, start the rounds in the gauntlet. Get down or lay down when we storming. It's the clash of the titans. It's the clash of the titans.
Yes, we are about to get started, y'all. We are about to get started. Hope everyone's having a blessed, beautiful day. Run one more word from our sponsors while we get everything ready for you. You know what? Here we go. You know what? Forget that word from our sponsors. Welcome to another powerful edition of Coliseum of Arguments. Can you mute up, Mr. Richardson?
Mute up.
Yes, sir. You have an echo, actually. We'll figure it out in a second, though. Welcome back to another powerful edition of Coliseum of Arguments. Tonight, this is not a debate. This is healing. This is growth. This is truth that saves lives. Tonight's episode is titled Mental Health in the Black Community, a conversation we don't have enough, but one we desperately need. And I'm honored, truly honored, to bring you a very special guest tonight. Not just a professional, not just a counselor, but a man who has dedicated over 20 years to transforming lives, restoring families, and guiding people out of the darkest mental and emotional battles. Joining us tonight is Jonathan Richardson of Transforming Lives Network. This is a man with a master's in education and community counseling, a licensed professional clinical counselor, and more importantly, a man with wisdom earned through decades of walking people through trauma, grief, anxiety, depression, and the silent struggles our community often carries alone. Tonight, he's not just talking theory. He's bringing real tools, real strategies, and real exercises you can start using today to begin your healing journey. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, if you've been carrying stress you never talk about, if you've been strong for everyone else but tired inside, this episode is for you. Get ready for knowledge, get ready for growth, and most importantly, get ready to take your first steps toward healing. Let's welcome a wise mind, a trusted voice, a true servant to the community, Jonathan Richardson. Everybody give him a round of applause. How you feeling today? You're muted.
Well, thank you for such a kind welcome.
Don't worry about it. We gonna clip that one and make a short of it. Let me bring us up over here. So go ahead. My mic's on. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people who may not know you. and you have the floor. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link for anybody who wants to come up and hang out with us. And if you guys have questions, you know, this is going to be an open panel, but he is doing some teaching today. So I'm going to drop that link right now for everyone. And you have the floor.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I'm glad to be here. Thanking A1 for the opportunity to, you know, hopefully say some things that will help people transition, because we all deal with difficulties as it relates to mental health. Some we acknowledge and some we don't. Some of the influences to our mental health is systemic in nature in terms of racism. Racism adds another layer to all of the things that we encounter as we transition through this life. Oftentimes we're dealing with generational trauma, we're dealing with community trauma, and we're also dealing with family trauma. And all of those traumas actually have a direct effect on mental health and well-being. Let me give you a few statistics. 1 in 3 African Americans are likely to seek treatment. That's a stunning number in the sense that the stigmas associated with mental health are primarily what keep people from seeking services. People often will tell me, I won't go to counseling because I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I tell them all the time, I don't have one crazy person. I've never had a crazy person in my office. I've had people in my office that were struggling with life challenges, unemployment. I've had children dealing with the foster care system. I've worked with parents who've had their children's taken. I've worked with sexual abuse, physical abuse, all of the abuses. I've done all of that. And I've also done a lot of work with youth. So primarily, I'm looking at trying to encourage people to utilize services that could benefit their life holistically, from a holistic standpoint. Because coming to therapy isn't just about having a diagnosis. Coming to therapy is more about addressing what's going on in my life that is causing me to feel like I'm powerless, I have no control, and there's nothing I can do about the circumstance. So primarily from a therapeutic standpoint, I'm always looking to promote hope, the possibility for change. But oftentimes people will come to my office and they'll say something like, well, why do I have to do that? And depending on how I'm feeling that day, I might say, why do you expect change without change? Because the very definition of transformation suggests that you're being changed from one state to another. So change is always involved if we want to change our future and our current situations. I also want to identify that family systems sometimes discourage treatment because in the culture, it's assumed that if you seek mental health treatment or if you have a mental health difficulty, that's weakness in you, the individual, when that's not so. So in order to promote our community, we need to encourage more mental health, because seeking mental health services early on, like when I'm working with youth, sometimes an antidepressant could be the difference between a delinquent child and a straight A student. I can remember the first time I was working with a child. He was diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome along with some other disorders. And so I said to the psychiatrist, I was concerned about his presentation. So I suggested to the psychiatrist that we get him on a low dose of medication. That was the first time I saw that child smile after we got him on it. Do I encourage medication? No. I try to do everything I can to help people. And it's ultimately, you don't have to take medication because you come to therapy. Let's clear that up now. The only time I mention medication is in the event I can't get you moving. If you can't get up out of bed, or if you're psychotic meaning being paranoid, thinking people are out to get you and doing things to you, then I would encourage medication, because if we don't, if you're psychotic, then the community is at risk. And so I'm just kind of giving an overview. And oftentimes people don't come into contact with mental health services until either they're in an emergency room or they're going to see their primary care practitioner. I don't encourage that, but I do use primary care physicians in the event it takes too long to get a client in to see a psychiatrist. I also want to suggest I don't believe in, I don't encourage taking medication if you're not in therapy. And the reason for that is people will come to me and they'll say, oh, I've been taking this medication for 5 or 6 years. And I'll ask them, I say, well, does it work? And they'll say no. Well, if they had been going to a therapist, the therapist knows their baseline. So as a therapist, I tell the client, you've peaked. You've plateaued, which means the medication has come to a point where its effectiveness has been reduced. So now we need to get you a change in your medication or an increase in the dosage, because as we take medications, we do develop tolerance. And so that needs to be understood. I don't encourage medication without therapy. I can't emphasize that enough, because people will think they're helping themselves, but at the same time, their situation hasn't changed. And anytime you have a mental or emotional disorder, you're going to have distortions in thinking. So I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist, and I believe that cognitions, the way you think, affects how you behave and ultimately how you live. So since there's this disparity that's going on within the community about mental health, I suggest to anybody that is hesitant to seek mental health services that they consider the fact that you're suffering in isolation. You're not able to manage life circumstances and you're feeling overwhelmed. But oftentimes, many people that come to my office, I've helped people go from not having a high school diploma to having a master's degree. I've helped people go from having turmoil in their families to correcting situations and setting boundaries and normalizing their lives. I've helped assist people through trauma that is affecting their current situation. So trauma that happens in early life is going to affect your relationships in later life. And so that's why we need to give more attention to trauma. For instance, anybody that experienced COVID, you already meet the criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder, the fear of death, or the idea of watching people die. Every day during COVID, we would get a report on how many people were dying. We were getting fear message continually. So how can you come out of that circumstance without a level of increased anxiety, which is evidenced by what started to happening on the airplanes? There was an increase in spontaneous violence. Why? Because people were on edge. And usually when people have anxiety, there's usually an accompanying change. You know, we have mood swings. So people with anxiety can have mood swings. And so since anxiety is a disorder that's fear-based, sometimes what people are thinking during an anxiety episode can be of concern. Because if you believe it, what happens if you act on it and you have untreated anxiety? So we have to really take a big look at this and look. I think that, yes, mental health has a bad track record. That's true. That's true. But I do think that also when I came into the field as a Black male, somebody said to me that you're a rare commodity. Why is that? Because a lot of black males may have been incarcerated, had criminal records, and if you have a felony, and you can't do therapy. And so as a result, it gave me opportunities as a black person in terms of people wanting me. I have people coming from Youngstown, different places to see me because they're wanting an African-American therapist. So if a therapist isn't culturally competent, if they don't know about your culture, how can they assist you in understanding when they lack understanding about your cultural background? So I work cross-culturally, and so I educate myself on every culture I work with so I can come from a place of knowing and understanding. And what I don't know, I encourage the client to teach me. And when I don't know, I will ask the client, I'll say, look, I don't know how that works in your community. Can you give me more background and things like that? So you want someone who is working for you. If you're looking for a therapist, I would recommend psychologytoday.com. I'm listed on there. I have a profile, but there's other African-American clinicians on that website that you can read their bio, you can call, get a consultation before you meet to see if you're a good fit. I wholeheartedly believe in the days we're living in and the socioeconomic, the political climates and so forth, that every time you're watching the news at night, if you end up sad or angry afterwards, that's an indication that you need to stop watching it. Why? Because you're creating emotions that are not helpful to your day-to-day living. And so some people saturate themselves in drama and then ultimately traumatize themselves. So as a result, I believe in mental health. No one that has come to me can say that I didn't work hard on their behalf. And that's what you want when you're looking for a therapist, someone you can relate to, someone that's going to take the time to hear you out and work with you. And oftentimes when people are coming for mental health, they get other solutions for other problems that may be going on in their lives. So holistically, when you go to a therapist, whatever's going on in your life is fair game, because here's the key to it all. At any point in time, anybody on the planet can have a mental or emotional disturbance. Okay, for instance, I got laid off. You're gonna have some sadness or depression. If you are having difficulties in your relationship and you don't have a sense of control, you're going to have some sadness or some anxiety about the outcome. So anytime things are outside of your control or things are in the future that you lack control in, then you're probably experiencing anxiety and also a level of depression. Those things accompany life and how we manage it. Why do you go to therapy? To learn how to cope, to get the skills necessary to transcend the situation and move towards a different level of functioning. And that's what mental health is designed to do, to help you transcend the concerns and the situations that we face on a daily basis so that you can thrive and live the type of life that you want to live. And with that, I'm going to open the floor for questions, if there are any, based on what I've just said. Or anything you want to talk about.
Go ahead, Lord Benu. We'll start with you.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
I appreciate the bill. You said a lot of things that made a lot of sense, and I agree with. I like to consider myself a mental health professional as well. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and a mental health ambassador. And one of the stances that I hold is that Black people in America are suffering from a mental illness that has yet to been defined or given its rightful due. I think that the issues that we face in America have never been addressed, and I think they've been glossed over and dressed up. So, like you can do, like you said, cope with what's happening to us and not address it as an issue that keeps us in a perpetual state of depression. It forces us to deny certain realities that we're living through, and I think that a different form of mental mental health services should be administered to us because our experience in America is completely different from anyone else's experience, and the traumas that we face aren't necessarily respected or acknowledged in mainstream psychology. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. And I'm gonna mute up. I appreciate you, bro.
Doc, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Getting oriented. I think I agree with what you said. Thank you for the comment and question. I think underlying mental health in our community is systemic racism, the perception that's being perpetrated in the media about who Black people are, that we're always violent, that we're militant. And so since this perception exists in the world, everywhere you go, you're going to experience it. I was working with someone that was very accomplished. I mean, very accomplished. And the problem and the thing that hindered him and made him, what's the word? When you rising to his stature. And what I taught him was this: anytime you bring up race, you assume the position of inadequacy, because inadequacy is associated with, they tag teamed it together. So every time you walk in the room and start thinking about race, you become like the person, the deer in the headlights looking around the room, because I'm looking to see who else is like me, instead of standing on your credentials, your body of work. When I walk in the room, it's about what I've accomplished, not what I look like. And so when we continually bring up race, we put ourselves in position where we don't think we're sufficient, that we're enough, that we have the capabilities. I came up through affirmative action, right? And so in order to be average, you had to be excellent. And so as a result, just for instance, one time somebody asked me, well, who do you know? And I said to him, I said, it's not who I know, I have skills. And so as a result, you can assume the role or the stigma associated with it. And what we have to do is separate ourselves from the perceptions of others about who we are as a people. And until we do that, we're going to be, you know, and we're flooded with it. If you're Black, you this. If you're Black, you this. The only thing they give us credit for, if you're Black, you don't crack. So as a community, we need to tell ourselves the truth and become support seeking. Here's what happens. I did some research when I was in college, and what I found that within the African-American community, that people that insulated or were protected from the incidences of STDs and HIVs, the main characteristic that isolated them or protected them was the fact that they were support seeking. I also proved that in another research that I've done. that support seeking individuals. And one of the things that made people vulnerable to STDs and HIV was economics. Because if the guy walks in and says, hey, I'm not using no condom, and he's like a provider, whatever, women would submit to that. And I'm just giving examples because I want people to see a wider view of how we get affected and how we affect our community ourselves, because we don't have the knowledge that we need to protect, to insulate, and to provide direction for people that need it when they need it so that they can thrive. Because here's the catch. I'm gonna give an example of using children. Oftentimes when I was working with children, And so since this perception exists in the world, everywhere you go, you're going to experience it. I was working with someone that was very accomplished. I mean, very accomplished. And the problem and the thing that hindered him and made him, what's the word? When you rising to his stature. And what I taught him was this: anytime you bring up race, you assume the position of inadequacy, because inadequacy is associated with, they tag teamed it together. So every time you walk in the room and start thinking about race, you become like the person, a deer in the headlights, looking around the room, because I'm looking to see who else is like me, instead of standing on your credentials, your body of work. When I walk in a room, it's about what I've accomplished, not what I look like. And so when we continually bring up race, we put ourselves in position where we don't think we're sufficient, that we're enough, that we have the capabilities. I came up through affirmative action, right? And so in order to be average, you had to be excellent. And so as a result, just for instance, one time somebody asked me, well, who do you know? And I said to him, I said, it's not who I know, I have skills. And so as a result, you can assume the role or the stigma associated with it. And what we have to do is separate ourselves from the perceptions of others about who we are as a people. And until we do that, we're going to be, and we're flooded with it. If you're black, you this. If you're black, you this. The only thing they give us credit for, if you're black, you don't crack. So as a community, we need to tell ourselves the truth and become support seeking. Here's what happens. I did some research when I was in college, and what I found that within the African-American community, that people that insulated or were protected from the incidences of STDs and HIVs, the main characteristic that isolated them or protected them was the fact that they were support seeking. I also proved that in another research that I've done, that support seeking individuals, and one of the things that made people vulnerable to STDs and HIV was economics. Because if the guy walks in and says, hey, I'm not using no condom, and he's like a provider, whatever, women would submit to that. And I'm just giving examples because I want people to see a wider view of how we get affected and how we affect our community ourselves, because we don't have the knowledge that we need to protect, to insulate, and to provide direction for people that need it when they need it so that they can thrive. Because here's the catch. I'm gonna give an example using children. Oftentimes when I was working with children, sometimes there's two ways it can go if a child has ADHD, for instance. Let's say a child has ADHD and he doesn't get medicated. I'm not a proponent of medication, as I said before. But what tends to happen, or the patterns I have seen over the years, is this: that child, because they're not functioning, they're always in trouble, they kind of get turned off to school. And then you start seeing delinquent behaviors, cutting school, and so forth. And I've seen kids going from F students to A students after medication. Here's the deal with medication. Like I said, medication only is an 8-hour window. So that's why they take it in the day, and then, you get through it at night. The only way some kids would take it so they could do their homework, but some kids don't need it to do their homework. Their parents are there. It's a structured environment. Kids with ADHD need more structure. But here's the distinction. I've seen a kid either become delinquent or excel at school. And so as parents within the community, we got to think, you know, your opinion is affecting your child's future. And if your opinions are not informed by information, then you could be making a choice that makes your child a victim. Case in point, oftentimes African Americans don't get treatment for mental health till they do something and end up in prison. That's that crazy cousin, that's that crazy uncle. They wind up in prison, then they get identified with the mental illness. So sometimes if we can treat the mental illness, we can keep some of our people out of prison, our men. And that's something as a community we have to look at.
I got a question, one more question before I make a comment, and then let Ismail go. Do you think that race or the perception of our identity is something that that is a hindrance to us as far as progressing in this reality or this environment?
I think identity is at the top of everything we do, because identity, because who I am in this world, who I am in my community, who I am when I'm alone, who I am in the context of my family is all very important. But identity has been influenced by media, how we're perceived. Give you for instance, what happens every time we see a police car? Anxiety pops up. Yeah, I'm just saying a rhetorical question, so to speak.
Okay.
So I'm saying some of what we experience is socialized. And because racism has been socialized and made systemic throughout our entire society, we can't get away from those influences. So now, what do we have to do? We have to address the mental illness, but also reconstruct our identity. Who am I choosing to be? When I think of, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's the point that I was gonna make. Like we've tied our identity into somebody else's perception. You know what I'm saying? We call ourselves a term that somebody else labeled us as, which comes with preconceived notions or predetermined attributes. You know what I'm saying? And that in itself is what I'm pointing out as a mental illness. The fact that we could go into see a psychologist and come out happy about what we just experienced is a sign that the psychiatry didn't work. When one of my teachers was explaining to me, if we dealing with this reality and certain things being forced upon us and certain traumas that we're forced to accept as our own, right? And then we go into a psychologist that goes down into and picks our brain to find out the root cause of our issues, and we don't come out of there upset with the things that happened to us, then we just wasted our money. And it pretty much just like sugarcoated and, like, you know what I'm saying, glossed over the actual traumas and like wiped the nose instead of trying to cure the cold. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna use it from I'm gonna share a little bit of my history because I kind of have to make this simple. I grew up doing, you know, I was a kid, but like I said, I came up through affirmative action. Through the family turmoil stuff, I was an honors student. I was in honors history, honors English, but family disruption, dysfunction caused me to go the other way. I got in the streets, right? But I always knew I had potential. So in that environment, because I grew up in Chicago, so I created a what do I want to call it? An identity that came out of a lack of safety. And so that person was called Smokey Joe. All right. There's Smokey Joe and there's Jonathan. So what happens when we come through trauma, we adopt or adapt to certain personalities that help us get out of dangerous situations. But what happens is we perpetuate that survival identity into identities, we generalize it to everything. So if I'm not under threat, you know, we walk around because we live in environments that once upon a time, it was all about survival, safety, protecting ourselves. Well, when that stops, do you change your identity? Some people maintain the same survival identity, which doesn't help them in the present moment because those threats no longer exist. So we perpetuate or continue identities that came out of trauma, which affects our day-to-day living and family circumstances and relationships. Am I making sense? If I need to clarify, you can ask a question.
No, you're making perfect sense. And I would add on to that too, like the opposite side of that coin would be Joe Schmo that works at the bank. You feel me? That has a successful life in the eyes of today's society, but he's suppressing who he really is in order to be able to maintain himself in that environment. In order to reach this level of success in this reality, he has to suppress certain parts of himself or who he is. And so are women too. Like when they go into these arenas of education and work, they have to suppress who they are at their core to be able to be in those arenas. And like that is a part of the mental illness as well, not just the negative side where like we're dealing with street people, you know what I'm saying? But everybody's wearing a mask. And certain times our masks are just masks that we put on so that we aren't called out and ostracized and crucified in the community because we know that. I'll give you an example. Somebody close to me is doing a lot of work in the community, and at her core, she is a melanated queen. Like she embraces her heritage. You know what I'm saying? Everything about that. Recently, Trump dropped a picture or something with Obama and Michelle as monkeys, right? It's infuriating her, right? She wants to speak out about it on Facebook and say something in response, but she knows that her putting herself out there like that, and this is how she really feels, will put herself in a negative light to these people who are helping her get her mission accomplished. So she got to suppress that part of herself in order to stay in her perceived level of success. And I think that is a part of the mental illness that we don't address. You know what I'm saying? Because those cause continuous issues that go unresolved. You know what I'm saying? Like they get rooted in and they wrap around certain things, and in order to pull it out, you pulling on something else that you need. You know what I mean? And now you want to let it stay because you think it's a part of you now. And I'll leave that. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I agree with you though on what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. I guess it's like this. Do you believe the hype? Do you believe you're inferior? Do you believe you can't accomplish things? It's not, you know, it's just, these are things that people gotta ask themselves because, you know, I can remember one of the things Martin Luther King said. He said, if you ever want to master a system, you go into that system and you learn the rules of the system, and you then use the rules of the system against the system, which allows you to triumph. So oftentimes we try to operate outside the system, which then leads to problems in terms of legality, or whether you're doing something that would lead to incarceration or things like that. And so here's what I'm going to say. And so here's the thing: when I was growing up, people would say, well, the white man won't let you can't do nothing for the white man. And so I'm like, okay, I don't believe that. Because if I believe it, my behavior is going to support it. I'm not going to try. An example, case in point, I had just gotten this job, and I started going to college. At that point, I didn't even have a GED, so I was getting my GED. Then right after I got my GED, I jumped right into community college. And then my people were saying to me, I don't know why you going to school. They ain't gonna promote you. Well, guess what? 7 promotions later, they still in the same position because they believe that kind of message. And if you accept the message, then you're going to experience limitations. Any questions?
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that Martin Luther King quote again?
Said that in order to overcome, I'm paraphrasing, but he said in order to overcome any system, you have to go into the system and learn the rules of the system, and then use those rules against them, because you can't affect change in a system that has rules and then not use the rules of the situation of the system. Right. So that's what made.
Now I was gonna say, now what if you're in a situation where the rules of this system can be changed at the whim of the people in control of the system? What good would it be to try to learn the rules if they could just change them? Whenever you learn them and you figure it out, they just change the rules. They got to start all over again.
That could be a self-sabotaging thought, because if I think that way, will I even take action? You follow me? If I believe they won't let me, will I try?
So,
and a lot of people are in that stage.
So, like,
I'm gonna try. Go ahead.
So that's why, like, instead of the ideology or the view of integrating.
And then next we'll go to A Rare Celestial.
Finish his statement.
And then checkmate.
Into the system.
You're cutting in and out, Banu.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Yeah, he's cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out, Banu. We'll come back to you when your connection tightens up a little bit. A Rare Celestial. Actually, Shekmet was up here waiting patiently first. Let me not be rude. Shout out the goddess Shekmet. Everybody give her a round of applause as well. How you feeling, Shekmet?
Peace. I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Yes. You sound amazing.
Awesome. Oh my God, Dr. Richardson, welcome.
No, I'm not a doctor.
You're not? Okay, licensed therapist, Jonathan Richardson. I am so sorry. Welcome. It is such a delightful breath of fresh air. I am enjoying every moment of it. I look forward to more sessions like this. I did have a few questions, but the main one that I really tried to stick with was when you were speaking on just finding the help and the counsel and the therapy and things like that. I've actually tried, and I know of others that tried in the past, and I really didn't stick with it because I was never really comfortable with whom I was speaking with, even though I'll give it a few sessions. That led me to believe, just after hearing things that you said, it might have come to whatever I might have been expecting. Like, I think I walked into the office thinking it was just going to be an instant healing or something like that. So my question is for those who may have been in that, I guess, place of thought like myself, is what do we expect? What should we expect when we're searching for therapists or someone to help us in our mental health state? Like, what do we look for?
Oh man. Well, cultural competence is something all therapists are supposed to have, but within that doesn't negate that they may have their own cultural biases as it relates to African American. We're not supposed to have that. Any bias towards anyone independent of their race. So I don't care what you look like when you come there. I'm here. I'm going to try to help you get to the next level. I'm not going to indict the field and say everybody's not like that, but I have heard experiences from people that didn't feel like they were being served. Oftentimes I'll say this to people looking for a therapist. If you're in any way you know who you feel good around, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we vibe check. Ask specific questions. If they're not African American, just because I'm African American doesn't mean I'm a good fit for every other African American. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Because people will come, they may be looking for something different than what I present. So I think it's more about the person who's providing the therapy and how they present and are convincing you that, one, the main thing I try to convince people of, hey, this can change. You can overcome this. You can become a victor. You're not a victim. Let's leave the victim mentality, and I'm going to help you get to where you want to go. All I need to know is where you want to go. So here's the thing. If you go to therapy, let's figure out what you have a vision for what you want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to say this. I tell my clients all the time, if you give me 50% of the truth, you get 50% of the solution. So here's this. If you're not transparent, or if you don't give me everything, because I tell people this, what you say to me calls information out of me. If you only give me part, then I can only give you part. And in terms of intelligence levels, I'm gonna say that a different way. I'll put it like this. I can't help anybody, no matter what I do, in the absence of belief. So if I can't encourage their belief in me and what I'm presenting as solutions to their problems, it's a wrap.
So I have another question attached to that. Like, the different mental illnesses, and some people are going through and may not even recognize the signs. So when you're out and in the field and trying to find someone that you can trust and confide in and hopefully walk yourself through the process that you're going through, how do you know if it's not the actual mental health that is causing a disconnect between the therapist and the patient? And how, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, how many times should you give it a go? How many sessions should you try before you notice that that's not a fit, where you're not just doing it based off of possible anxieties or some things like that?
Rather than people just walk away, I'd rather you put it on the table.
Yes, sir.
Because I tell my clients all the time, if I have fear, you let me know. And the reason I want you to let me know, even though this is therapeutic, it's still a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not meeting your needs, please let me know. And then if you feeling some kind of way, put it on the table.
Yes, sir.
And then you'll get an answer. And then at least I'm not acting on what I think. Now I can operate on what I know.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to step back and let the sister ask questions. I'll hang around. I appreciate you and your time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. I'm muted
All
over
right.
here. Peace, Sister Rare Celestial. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
Did you
You
have any
kind of
questions?
invited me up here, so I wasn't exactly
definitely did.
sure. I wasn't exactly sure, but I did have something I wanted to say off of Checkmate questions.
Definitely. The floor is yours.
That first question, I feel like growth is uncomfortable in a lot of different situations. So you'll go into therapy looking for results, and it may seem uncomfortable. And it may not be the therapist itself. It could just be that growth is uncomfortable.
Right. I know where you're going. And I often tell clients this, because when you first come to therapy, there's like a rush. You feel good because you've taken some action. But then over time, what happens is people begin to look at their lives and they say it's a mess. And then they get discouraged. And I often tell people you have to push through those uncomfortable feelings, because no transformation. I mean, do we think the butterfly just walks out of the cocoon? No, there's a struggle. It has to break the shell, so there's always struggle in change. Change does not happen in the absence of, I would say, friction or conflict, because I'm going from one place and trying to go to another. Well, my old self doesn't want me to go. So habits and patterns are pulling me back from new directions and taking new steps. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like having your walls up and then the walls torn down.
Right.
Like a battle.
Go ahead. It's like breaking up soil. You ever walk, probably never done any farming, but if you ever run into some clay soil and you hitting it and that soil you got to break up that ground. And when we break up the ground, now what you're trying to give people can be received. And so pain is part of the process, because now I'm putting myself in touch with my past. And I don't like it. I don't like who I was. I don't like who I became. And now I'm in therapy and I'm telling this story and I'm not liking myself. And it feels like this is too difficult to continue. You should continue, because it's about you, and you're going to come out the other side like gold.
As well as vulnerability. Vulnerability is also uncomfortable for some people.
I couldn't make that out. Just a second. Let me see what adjust my volume. Can you repeat that?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
No, I was saying that's just like vulnerability. That is also uncomfortable for some individuals who are guarded.
Oh, for sure.
So going to therapy can also feel like you dropping your guard, but you really don't want to.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I often say this to my couples. How do you have a relationship without vulnerability?
You
Like,
said, how can you have a vulnerable relationship without vulnerability?
how can you have a relationship without both parties being vulnerable?
People do it.
That's absolutely right. I think that is one of the biggest things that's going on within our culture when it comes to male and female. Um, Everybody wants the other party to be the vulnerable one, but never want to actually let down their guards. And it has a lot to do with past traumas and pains and things like that that they're holding on to. I think that's a good topic. I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that.
Um, it is, and I do a lot of couples work as well. So I just wish people wouldn't come after one has checked out. Vulnerability is just part of it because you're being vulnerable when you make the phone call. You're being vulnerable when you walk in the office and introduce yourself. It's hard to tell your story, but a good therapist can make that easy. Because why? They're going to show you empathy, compassion, understanding. They're going to give you support and let you know, hey, this doesn't define you, and it doesn't have to be something that affects the rest of your life. Change is possible, but it takes working, investing in yourself. And people don't look at, and the main thing is, I want to let people know about therapy is, people, I don't want to go to therapy. It's an investment in you. Who else benefits from therapy but the person that's seeking it? So you tell me what you want. Usually when I meet with people in the first 1 or 2 sessions, I'm going to ask them to write a vision for their life. Because how do we know where we're going if we don't have a vision? That's like being the arrow and having no target. What good is the arrow without a target? Same thing in life. Where are we going is very important to know. And so if you don't have direction, who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? What do I want to overcome? What do I want to be better at? These things the client themselves need to know, and whatever they don't know, I'm going to illuminate for them in the session by saying, have you considered this or that? Or what about, so I'm going to explore the client's self-concept, their self-esteem and all of that, because sometimes I got to help build that up also so that they can believe that they can. Am I making sense? And did that address your question? Hello?
You're absolutely making sense. That's definitely one of the things that I look at and I see in people, specifically ours. I'm sorry, I'm kind of sticking with our people, but it's the lack of direction. And it's actually a great thing. You actually gave me something to do, because although I figure I know where I'm going, I kind of get tied up in the everyday go to work, come home, do this, do that, same type of repetition that I don't even stop to think like, what do I want to do in this next, I don't know, month, because I'm so in a rhythm of things that adding to it and everything is not something that I focus on. I just try to complete the same steps. So I think that was amazing. I also wanted to ask, where could we find you? Like, did you start like a YouTube channel or anything like
Yes.
that?
Yes, I started a YouTube channel called Transforming Lives Network. Right now, I just introduced the channel. I'm moving into a segment. I'm dropping a video this week on transformation. From there, I'm going to do a series I think, a 4-part series on identity. And then from there, I'm going to be doing, opening up a segment on the law within. And the law within addresses a lot of components of, it's going to address spirituality, morality, identity, community, and coming to know who you are. And basically it's a big piece on identity, but I believe in spirituality. And so when I started my business in 2008, I was trying to merge mental, spiritual, and physical wellness. So I also was a yoga instructor. So I was doing the mental and the physical. And now with this, when I get into the law within, I'll be talking about that spiritual law and how to merge that independent of any particular religious faith. So that's what's coming.
Nice. Guys, I am putting in the comments Mr. Richardson's YouTube, so that you guys can go click the link, make sure that you join, so we can definitely support and just continue this healing process.
Thank you. Is there any more questions?
I think
I
that's all the
personally
questions for today. Oh, go ahead.
I want to give
we're
a book.
done.
I want to give a book recommendation about mental health, should you be curious. It's called The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health: Navigate an Unequal System, Learn Tools for Emotional Wellness, and Get the Help You Deserve. That's all in the title. The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health. I wanted to at least teach one technique today. Maybe we could do it for about 3 minutes. And this technique I use it for anxiety. I use it as a sleep aid. I use it for test-taking anxiety. I use it for grounding, and it's also good for if you have a headache. But I just wanted to do this just so you could use this tool at home to get clarity. I think future episodes, we may talk about different mental, like anxiety, maybe some episodes on depression. For the record, I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. So CBT, cognitive behavioral. So I'm more focused on how thoughts affect behavior. And a lot of my work is actually found in teachings on manifestation. Cognitive behavioral there's a definite relationship between the two. And so as a man thinks, so is he, right? And so how I think affects how I live. And so that's why I'm more into cognitive, because if I think I can, I can. So whatever I think, I'm setting my own limitations. And so I just want people to grow. And that's why my network is called Transforming Lives. That's what I've been doing for 20 plus years. So that's my passion. A1?
Are you
I'm here.
I'm sorry. Are you taking any clients yourself? Is there a way, like if someone want to speak to you personally?
That's possible. Right now, I don't know how that's going to play out because I was planning to do more coaching, but I am on Psychology Today. And on there it'll identify what is.
PsychologyToday.com.
Yes.
Okay, just so that way everybody knows exactly.
Yes, psychologytoday.com. Right now, I don't have a whole lot of slot of open, and that's the difficulty because I'm also a crisis responder. So what that means is like I go to crises when people die, work accidents. I worked the Buffalo shooting. I worked the Maine shooting, and then I was sent to North Carolina following the flood. So I do a lot of crisis, and so I don't want people to think because my hands are in a lot of different places. When I have opportunity to take people, I will. This network that I created came out of a desire for me to help more people than I could do in an office setting. Because when COVID happened, I was getting so many phone calls that there was no way I could see all of those people. And that was hard. And so this network came out of a need to reach more people with information that would help them move forward. So contact me and I'll have to let you know. But right now I'm already got kind of a full schedule, maybe a couple of open slots, but that's, so that's where I can be reached. But if you don't reach, if I can't serve you, there are really good people that you can find on Psychology Today. And then if I can't take you at that time, I will try to either put your name on a waiting list and then you can get a call following.
Amazing. Don't forget the technique. I was just looking forward to it.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about it.
Okay.
I'm sucking all this in.
Okay, so if you all give me some discretion, here's what I want to do. I want to set it up for you, how this works. This technique, when I learned it, it only takes 3 minutes. But I found out through trial and error that it could work across a lot of different things that have anxiety at the base of it. And so anxiety affects sleep patterns, for instance. Anxiety affects your ability to perform taking tests for some people. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to be grounded so you can make decisions and transition to different activities. So it's a grounding tool. And since stress, tension cause headaches, it will, reduce the tension that's stored in your body. So the way this works is this. Your job is to ignore your thoughts and focus your attention on the sound of your breath. If you catch yourself thinking, take your attention back to listening. Let the thoughts blow by like paper in the wind. If you catch yourself thinking, take your attention back to listening. With each exhale, let your body go limp. When you do this on your own, you're going to hold your breath for approximately 4 to 5 seconds before you inhale. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you when to inhale and exhale. And I'm only going to do it for about 3 minutes. So A1, could you set a timer for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Give
a
me
timer.
1 second and I'll be able to share it on the screen. Give me about 60 seconds. Google.com. Wow, I spelled that crazy.
Wherever you are, I want you to sit back in your chair comfortably, close your eyes. You only have to listen. I'm going to tell you when to inhale and exhale. Is everyone ready? Okay, I'm going to start now.
Ready?
Inhale and hold. Ignore your thoughts. They will go away. Exhale. And hold. No thinking aloud, only listening. Exhale. Exhale. And hold. No thinking aloud, only listening. Exhale. Exhale. And hold. Let the thoughts blow by like paper in the wind. Exhale. Exhale. And hold. Relax the tension in your neck and shoulders. Exhale. And hold. With each exhale, let your body go limp. Exhale. Inhale. And hold. Ignore your thoughts. They will go away. Exhale. Exhale. And hold. Relax the tension wherever you feel it. Exhale. Exhale. Oh, it's okay to nod if that's what you feel. Exhale. Exhale. And hold. With each exhale, let your body go limp. Exhale. Exhale. And hold. I want you to give me 5 more breaths with inhale and exhale counting as one breath. Hold for approximately 4 to 5 seconds on your own. And when you complete those 5 extra breaths, I want you to squint first wherever you are before opening your eyes. Ignore your thoughts. They will go away. Let the thoughts blow by like paper in the wind. Relax tension wherever you feel it. Your body become still. Let your mind become quiet. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
How does that feel?
I already feel the tension in my shoulders, you know, getting up out of here. You need to make sure you tell people to inhale more. I almost passed out over here.
Yes.
It was all exhale at first. It wasn't no inhale. I was like, wait a second.
I said inhale. And
I started thinking for myself then. Like, I gotta think now.
Okay, we on the same level, hey boy, because I did it too. I was like, wait a minute.
You literally
inhale and exhale.
It was amazing. That I'm gonna definitely do that in the mornings. Yes.
Yeah,
Going
now
straight
here's
in the
how it
middle of
works.
the day. Yeah.
Can I give the rest of the prompts? The way I usually teach this is this. I want you to do it minimally twice a day for 2 weeks. The reason being, I want to create a body memory. So the body says, oh, I know what you want. And so you'll get there quicker. You can go and, like, say, for instance, you get amped at work. You can go sit in the bathroom for 3 minutes and come back with a changed mood. Just from doing this technique, because everything's going to relax. You're letting everything go. It works. And if you're going to use it as a sleep aid, I would suggest 7 to 9 minutes for sleep aid. For anger, about 5 minutes. Anxiety, anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. Thank you. Doctrine?
Ill Doctrine?
That's Ill Doctrine. He's one of the judges in the tournament.
Okay, pleasure.
Big wisdom from that guy. Yeah, he's been dropping a lot of game around here, man. Helping us tighten up. So shout out Ill Doctrine in the building. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm going to use that. I didn't even think about that as a sleep aid, because it, even like you say, when you get amped up, it's good because you can probably, will it bring your blood pressure down if you're getting too high?
Stress affects everything. So this is a stress reduction tool. I'm going to give you something else. I use everything I do with my clients is on YouTube. So I give them things to do that they can do on their own. So there's a program on YouTube called Yoga Zone.
Shout out Yoga Zone.
Yoga Zone. And you can just go to YouTube, access it for free. The difference in those episodes are this. When I taught, I would teach for an hour and a half. I taught vinyasa. These are vinyasa-like, but they're only 20 minutes. Those 20 minutes are powerful. I'm going to tell you why. One time I was running 2 offices 7 days a week, and my chest got tight. So I thought I was going to have a panic attack or a heart attack. So I started doing 2-a-day yogas. Over a 4-day period, the pressure released. The second time, and I'm probably jumping ahead of episode, I used it I had severe acid reflux, and I reversed it because everything we experience, every illness has a level of stress. So I use yoga to address stress because stress is the killer. Did they die from the disease, or did they die from the stress that aggravated the disease? Do you follow me? So stress is something we need to maintain. Another thing you need to know is anytime you stress, increase your water intake so it will flush out the cortisol that keeps your emotions heightened. So anytime you're stressed, drink more water to flush the cortisol. And with that, hopefully this was helpful to everyone. And if there's any questions, you can, I'm sure we're talking about doing this again, so it's probably going to happen again, and where I'll break down, maybe deal with anxiety in one segment, deal with depression in another, and then give you tools and, things you can do to manage. And a lot of what goes on with depression and anxiety are cognitive in nature, so we need to get control of how we think and what thoughts we need to think and what thoughts we ought to suppress. And with that, it's been my pleasure to be here. I thank you for your time and your attention.
Oh my God, no. He's gonna stay with us forever. I don't want him to leave.
What's that?
I don't want it to be over. Okay, I gotta wait till next time. I'm still over here like, hell. Oh my God, I loved you, Doctor. Well, I'm sorry, I keep calling you Doctor. I loved you.
It's all right. People do it all the time.
I loved it. I loved it. I do not want you to go. It was perfect. You were amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, what a powerful conversation tonight. We didn't just talk about mental health. We talked about breaking cycles, healing wounds. We were told to hide. And learning that strength doesn't mean suffering in silence. Huge gratitude to Jonathan Richardson from Transforming Lives Network, a man with over 20 years experience, a master's education in community counseling, and a licensed professional clinical counselor who continues to pour wisdom, compassion, and real life tools back into our community. Tonight, he didn't just give information, he gave action steps, exercises you can start using today, ways to slow your mind, check in with your emotions, and take your healing seriously. And listen, healing doesn't happen overnight, but awareness, that starts right now. One breath, one conversation, one step at a time. If something you heard tonight resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Check in on a friend. And most importantly, check in on yourself, because taking care of your mental health is not a weakness. It's wisdom, it's courage, it's legacy work. This has been Coliseum of Arguments, where minds meet, voices rise, and tonight, healing has begun. We'll see you next episode. Stay strong, stay open, and take care of your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. And you know my motto, treat your smile like your money and never let them steal it. With that, you guys have a blessed rest of the afternoon. We have the results show with Pandemis and Hemi tonight at 7 o'clock. Shout out That Green Vegan in the building. I've been checking out your content. I love it over there. You had me rolling the other day. Keep it up. Yeah, we have results show with Pandemis and Hemi tonight, and we have a debate tomorrow with Leandre. Stay tuned for the next episode of Mental Health in the Black Community with Jonathan Richardson. And again, please make sure you subscribe to his channel at Transforming Lives Network on YouTube. We're going to get all his other platforms going here this week. Trust me, I'm working. I'm going to make sure everything is right so you guys can find him wherever you are on social media at. And I need an outro song for him too. Coming soon. I think we're going to end with let me just turn this up and we'll go ahead and exhale our way up out of here. You guys have a blessed rest of the night. Any closing remarks?
Okay.
Richardson.
All right. One, I want to thank you all for the opportunity. Again, it's been my pleasure to help people. That's what I do. When I'm helping, I don't get hungry and I don't get tired. So I'm in my mission, I'm in my destiny, I'm in my purpose, and I want to help others find their purpose, and you can find your purpose too. I encourage you to invest in yourself to overcome your family traumas by engaging with it, addressing how it has affected you, and transcend those circumstances so that they don't define your present nor your future. Thank you.
Closing remarks, Checkmate.
Hell. No, I'm good.
All right, until next time, y'all have a good one. We're out.